Hello, and welcome to Code and Color, the home for all things animation and video games. This week, we're going to be discussing Warner Brothers and their poor decision making when it comes to video games. Basically, what's been happening is they've decided to double down on the live service elements of their games, even though Suicide Squad has done abysmally.
Yeah, what do you mean? I feel like Warner Brothers would make all the best decisions. Like, I don't know, you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, just got a reputation for being so on it lately.
100%, like they're completely tapped in with their fans, know exactly what they want to, what everybody's shouting
They're
for.
just listening, you know? You just
Yeah.
know you're getting what you want from Warner Brothers.
Exactly. You feel like, you're on to a sure thing, and then Warner Brothers comes in and goes, I know how to make that better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Case in point with this is they want to essentially put their live service elements on other franchises. Namely, some that have been named are Hogwarts Legacy, which,
Don't touch it.
yeah, just by its sales alone, it should tell you that game does not need a live service element. It just
No.
it needs a multiplayer. I'd play with my friends and go on little things, but give it a multiplayer element. Don't give it a I need to be online all the time and I do this and I get so many robes or whatever, that sort of thing. It's just an awful way to put the game through. And I think, like what we said off air, you said that Hogwarts Legacy's benefit was it was a complete game. It was a complete experience that you could just play.
Yeah, I could play it at my own accord and like choose how I want to play it and do the things. Like I will go over there and do that. Like if you want to add more content to the game, add more content to the game, but don't do it at the expense of having to do it as a live service thing where I've constantly got to be online to play it, because I just don't think that's fair. Annoyingly, I have got to be online to play it anyway because I've got it on my Series S, which is a nuisance, like an outright nuisance anyway. But yeah, I don't think live actions like live service, is the way to go, given the success, or the lack of success rather, of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It's not exactly thriving, is it? You know what I mean? It's gone. It's come and gone. I don't even hear anybody talk about it. This might be the first time we've mentioned it since it came out, really. I do still want to play it, and I just haven't had the chance. But yeah,
the problem is they've had two cracks of the whip. They had it with Gotham Knights and they had it with Suicide Squad, both titans of the gaming industry. It's DC. Like DC sells, no matter what it is, how bad it is. DC sells, and if your game's doing terrible and like barely reaching 1,000 players at its peak, you've definitely got issues going off with it.
Yeah,
it's definitely not the money pit that they thought it was going to be, and where everybody was screaming, "Let's get another Batman game." Or even let's get a Suicide Squad game that's just not a live service Suicide Squad game. Give us a narrative driven, focus story, have a multiplayer element in it where your friends can jump in and out, like Helldivers, for instance. They can jump in, they jump out, or you can play on your own. But making it live service and making it that grind of having to pay for stuff and just battle passes and just awful things. For some games, it really works. For some games, it really doesn't. And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a real miss. And I just don't think that Warner Brothers should double down on that thought process. It's clearly a failure. Why would you go and why would you sit there and think, oh, actually, there's lessons to be learned from there, and just ignore them?
Yeah, I think a major problem with like doing battle passes and stuff, especially narrative things. Like for me, that would really take me out of it if, for instance, I didn't play it for a couple of months and I missed out on a battle pass that was in season at that time. So I missed out on cosmetics or any gear or anything like that, and it kind of hinders your experience a little bit because you haven't got the complete set. Especially if I'm already paying X amount of money for a game, I want to have full control and a complete product. I don't want to be like, damn, I missed that. I missed out on that character skin or something like that because I didn't play it. The difference with like multiplayer games, like whilst yes, Helldivers has that, it's not going to completely. I don't think the battle passes don't seem to have like a time limit. I don't know. Doesn't not that I can see. So I think they just kind of stack, which I should hope for, considering you pay X amount of money for it, or something like Fortnite, where their battle pass, like it's a free to play game anyway. So and they very explicitly say that if you get this battle pass or anything from our shop, it is just purely cosmetic. There is no tactical advantage to it at all. Anything you get in the battle pass. And if you miss out, yes, it's annoying, but it's not going to be detrimental to your experience. Whereas, and I probably won't care too much because I didn't really pay for it. So if I'm not paying for it, I don't really care. But if I'm having to play a game like Hogwarts Legacy and I miss out on, like, I don't know, additional spells or costumes or things like that's going to really annoy me because I've already paid like 70 quid to play this game.
Yeah. Fundamentally, I think that's what is the main issue with Suicide Squad as a whole. Is you are paying £70 for this game that's essentially a game that's going to get better as time goes on, but it isn't. Like and the problem is Fortnite is a free game, and it's grown its fan base, and it's grown to be this titan of the industry through people playing it, through the store growing. But there was very little expectations with it.
Yeah.
Whereas with Suicide Squad, you paid a £70 premium for a game that's really not as big as Fortnite, and it should be as big as Fortnite from the get-go. It should be like you get 20,000 different costumes, you get all these different cosmetics and all these different weapons and how you want to play it, and like tailor it to your play style and X, Y, and Z. And it's just not like that. And the fact that Warner Brothers has gone, let's have a go again on a third time. And the worst thing is because I don't know how many franchises are actually named in the article, but just off the top of the head, with it being Hogwarts Legacy, is definitely a game that doesn't need a live service element. And it essentially, once they turn them servers off, it bricks your game. That's it. You're done. There's no more game. Look at Avengers. The Marvel's Avengers, when that came out. They plowed so much money into that, made it look so great, made it a live service game, turned the servers off. Nobody can play that game. And for me, that's a massive turn off. That, like, I'm paying £70 for a game that in 3-4 years, I'm not going to be able to play it ever again because you're going to turn the servers off.
Yeah. It's not a great move, is it? Like, I get that we're moving into sort of a digital age and things are going that way. That is inevitable. There's no point fighting the inevitable. Things are going to happen. But it kind of feels like we've gone, well, this is how we've kind of decided it's going to work. This is how it's going now. And Warner Brothers seem to just do that. Like, and they seem to do things without thinking about the repercussions. Look at the way they've treated the situation with dropping but 2 films. There's that ongoing issue with the Coyote versus Acme film. That's a whole like thing that's happened as well. That's a devastating blow for the animation industry and Looney Tunes fans because people wanted that to come out. Or I know it's not something we traditionally talk about, but you had that Batgirl film that was filmed and then never released. It's a really, really strange and kind of almost terrifying time to be in because Warner Brothers are just, because they are a titan in the sort of entertainment industry, they can just do what they want. And they're making live service games that aren't working, but they're doing it again, and they'll just be like, it is what it is, because people did buy Suicide Squad. It might not be a well-performing game, but people have bought it, so therefore they're like, well, it works. And it's not a case of, yes, it works, but just because people bought it doesn't mean you should do it again. People bought it to find out whether it was any good in the first place. And I don't like that like mindset. Like, it shouldn't be like, in my opinion, there was nothing wrong with DLC, like just being the option to buy some DLC and DLC being forever available. It's like, cool, you want that? You can't afford it, or you've got other things going on right now? Get it later. Get it later. I want to get the Pokemon one for Scarlet and Violet, the DLC. And I'm like, if I get it, I'm not going to miss out on anything. It's all the content that was added in that DLC will be there. Like, it's not it was never a broken thing. Although people did used to moan about DLC being like, well, if you can add extra content, why can't it just be a complete game?
Oh,
but
that old chestnut.
Yeah, and I whilst I agree with that, I also don't, because I'm like, well, it's nice that developers still want to add content to a game. Yeah. Yes, it's a completed game, but they're like, oh, actually, why don't we offer you some more? And yes, it might cost you a little bit extra, but it's not going to be detrimental to the main story. Whereas live service stuff, it's live. So if you miss it, you've missed it. That's it. It's gone forever. Like, and as Josh says, if they turn off the servers, well, yeah, you've wasted time and money on that game then. I just think it's it's not it's not a method I would go down personally. But
The problem is you know, to talk about a game that's doing really well, Helldivers. You know,
yeah,
I'll shout from the rafters about how well that game's doing, and the reason why that game is doing well is because it's a live service game that doesn't throw any live service elements at you. It's just you go in, you play with your friends, you make your own narrative, and you just keep going on and on. And you that's how the game is succeeding at the moment. It's everybody's united to save Super Earth. And the problem is I think that Warner Brothers themselves are thinking, oh, actually, we've got a popular franchise, say Harry Potter, say whatever it may be, whatever.
a
Let's
lot. They've got a lot of
yeah,
franchises.
yeah, let's tack on a live service element to that game that doesn't need it, rather than actually being like, oh, Helldivers, this original IP is doing really well. We have enough money to do, we have FU money basically. We can just go, here's a load of money, bye bye, see you later, and make whatever we want. And they should just do that. They should just drop a new IP, something similar to Helldivers that capitalizes on that sort of interest. Everybody's playing live service games, and with like Fortnite, with Helldivers, with all these other ones that are doing really well. Find somewhere in between. You Warner Brothers, come up with something new, come up with something unique. You know what? Take a little bit from Helldivers. I thought of a game while we were sat thinking about this episode. I thought, why don't they make a Helldivers set in like New York, where it's been attacked by Martians, and you're jumping in and you're going around the streets of New York trying to sort of like battle an alien force coming in. Nobody's making that. Warner
Isn't
Brothers.
that just like? Oh no, I guess it's not. No, yeah. I mean, Warner Brothers. I feel like they're only ever going to. I don't think they're going to make original properties. They're just. I don't think they're that kind of studio that would make original sort of brand new IPs. They're not, are they? Let's be honest. Their selling point is the fact that they have like a multitude of licensed products that they can use, like DC or Harry Potter, or just like pretty much anything like Scooby Doo and stuff like that. Like
but even then, you are right. Yeah, even then, like they've got all these properties, and they have got all these sort of like licenses that they can use. Make something new from them.
Well, they kind of did, didn't they, with the Multiverses game, I guess. But that's a live service game as well.
Yeah, went to sleep for 12 months. Did that, didn't it?
Yeah, it's
making
and that for me had a great potential because I like sort of Smash Bros style video games. I enjoy them, and the option to be either the Iron Giant or Batman or Shaggy, like, and be able to like joke it out. That's sick, but it didn't take off the way that they wanted to, and so I don't think Warner Brothers should be exploring this live service thing because I think the biggest problem with it is they're not putting enough like advertise. Like, not a lot of people knew about multiverses. It's not like it was a very well like advertised game. You had to kind of, if you knew, you knew. If you didn't, you didn't. Right? Like, it's not exactly on the level of popularity like Smash Bros is. Like everyone knows Smash Bros. It's like you know what I mean, but. I think that they're kind of. It feels like Warner Brothers as a whole, really, like they're just making these decisions and not really backing themselves either. They're just kind of like, cool, we'll do that, but don't worry about it. Like, if it fails, it fails. And because it's they don't have to think about it. Like, it's nothing. Like, it's minor to them. It just. I don't know, and I think this is the problem with their live service thing because they're just kind of half-assing it, and they're like not really putting yeah, they're just like, oh, we'll do it. Like if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think the whole attitude to everything at the moment is a bit of a kick in the teeth for creators.
But I don't think that attitude has come out of nowhere. Thinking about it now. When they were originally trying to make Batman Arkham, they were supposed to make a sequel to the Batman Begins game.
Yeah.
And they were going to make the Dark Knight, and they'd got, processes, and people were voice acting and, doing whatever they were doing. They were quite a ways in making it. And eventually they just went, actually, no, we don't want to do this. We'll do something else. Here's the Batman license. you can go do something with it, Rocksteady. We don't know who you are. Just go and throw something out. And
Mm.
they managed to throw something out that, like, revolutionizes the gaming industry. And because
Then
of
they
that
buggered it.
success, they tried to capitalize on it. They made another couple of Batman games. And then there was like, oh, actually, let's see if we can make even more Batman games. And granted, Arkham Origins is a fantastic game, but they tried to sort of double down on like success, and they look at like, oh, actually, we'll see Suicide Squad as a potential success because it sold a lot because people wanted to see what all the hype and hullabaloo was about. How horrendous it is.
Mm.
That to me is exactly right. That's not a good thing that people wanted to see how bad your game was and they spent money on it. You can't just see that as a win because, oh yeah, we still sold so many millions of units of this game. You need to be putting out good quality content for people to consume. And the fact that it's
Yeah,
live service shouldn't be the thing that actually that turns people onto it,
and
or
I think
should be replicated. You know what I mean?
things like Suicide Squad, like them not doing well, that comes at the detriment of Rocksteady. I think they've done irreparable damage to their reputation. Well, not completely irreparable, but for a while, like I feel like people are a bit like because I feel like Rocksteady have taken the heat on this more than Warner Brothers probably have.
Mm.
A lot of people are pointing the finger at them more, so Warner Brothers are kind of just skating by like unfazed. Even, but then again, they're
We
probably
didn't meddle. You know what I mean?
yeah, like oh, God, we just left. We threw it at Rocksteady and said make a game, and it's not our fault that they absolutely blew it. But 100% is like Warner Brothers probably. I imagine we're probably breathing down their necks, and we're like, no, we need to get this game out. We need to get this out, 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 out. We're all about content, 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 and I'm no, like no, and that it's whilst we do chant a lot on this podcast about things need to come out, like games need to come out more animated stuff needs to come out, like we're waiting so long for like big things and stuff like that. That shouldn't come at the expense of the quality of the product either.
Mm.
Like especially with something like Suicide Squad, when you're dealing with sort of a legacy franchise like the Batman Arkham games, you need to kind of handle that with some care. It shouldn't take long. Hire more staff. It's not like Warner Brothers can't afford it. Hire more people to do it. Fund Rocksteady the ability to be able to hire more creators to make this game, so that they can do it at double more time, quicker. They can do it quicker, and they can probably do it at better quality because they've got more hands on deck. But instead, we get a half-assed product that they're now like, oh, well, we'll just live service it. And the problem with live service is that they can do what people feel like video games have been doing for a while, when actually maybe they haven't been, is release a half-assed game and just patch it out as it goes on, and sort of add additional content to the point where it's like, hell yeah, this is sick now, give it the cyberpunk treatment.
4 years later, like,
Yeah, when it's barely relevant.
Yeah.
Barely relevant.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that it does give them an excuse to sort of like put out half-assed games and not have that sort of quality that it should have. Like, yeah, I'm of two minds, to be fair. I do agree with you. I think that the reputation has been damaged by Rocksteady, but I do think they can bounce back, and I think they'll bounce back with a Batman game. I think they'll bounce back. Maybe not a Conroy one, obviously.
Well, clearly.
Clearly
no, you know what they'll do, and Warner Brothers will so shamelessly do it. AI. They'll AI generate Conroy's voice.
Yeah, I think they'll go with the Origins voice, to be fair. I think they'll do a Batman game or a Nightwing game. They'll do something that, like, Superman game. They'll do a Justice League game. They'll do something.
They need to shift the focus from Batman, because all the time Rocksteady make Batman games, that people are just going to be like, it's not Conroy, is it? It's not Kevin Conroy. Like, they should explore some different avenues. Like, I don't know. As much as I don't like him, Superman at some point needs the treatment that Batman gets. Because Superman is the poster boy of DC. Like, he actually is the poster boy of DC, arguably. As much as I prefer Batman in every way, shape, or form, it is Superman. Like, a lot of people would probably mention Superman more than Batman, but Superman is cursed with never getting a game. There's no good Superman game, is there? Like, I can't think of one.
Well, Devil's Advocate, Tin Hat.
Of course. Wouldn't be an episode of Code and Color without it.
when Mr. Gunn announced his slate for DC, video games were included in that. So I
As it
wouldn't be
should.
surprised if they're working on either a Superman tie-in, which I don't, movie tie-in games, they are awful, but
But they can get
maybe,
away with it with Superman. You're dealing with
yeah,
like nearly 100 years worth of comic books. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So
I think it could work. Like there are obviously tech demos out there of people like with the Matrix City demo that they did. They put
yeah,
Superman in there and they put a model in and had him flying around the city. And I was like, I could lose 30 hours to just doing that, flying about everywhere
yeah,
like I do with
literally.
Spider Man. The traversal's key. I think that there'll be something ties in with DC's like movie slate and TV show slate and animation slate. That there'll be games coming out of that ilk, and I think that's the moment where James Gunn needs to be like, "Hi, Warner Brothers, back off. We don't want live service games. We want this and this and this." And I think in terms of like DC, I think that will be the solution. But in terms of like every other property,
Yeah,
stop sticking live service stuff on your games.
I just
Nobody
think
wants
it's
it.
not. It's not going to work. I don't think live service is the the way to go with anything narrative based. It's not a narrative based
No.
sort of model for me. It works well in a multiplayer platform. 100%. Those are constantly evolving games when you're dealing with multiple people wanting fresh updates. Live service stuff works. The way that Fortnite's season system works, and apparently everyone bloody copied that ever since that model got introduced way back in 2017. But it's a success, and a lot of people have worked. It's worked for them. It worked for Call of Duty with Warzone, PUBG, Apex. They're all popular games because of the model that Fortnite pretty much honed in on and sort of refined and made it a well fleshed out thing. Adding that to something narrative driven, no,
No.
because you'd need to be adding way more content, like a whole new narrative to be able to keep, because there's no reason for me to play it at all.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're adding like DLC levels of like amount of sort of story, then but that's a lot to uptake as well. That's a lot, and that's a lot for developers. I wouldn't want to do that. If someone came into me, if someone from Rocksteady and Warner Brothers came up to me and I was an employee at Rocksteady and was like, right, what we're going to do with Suicide Squad or Hogwarts is we're going to make this a live service game. We're going to continue to add content every few months. Like, okay, but well, what kind of content are we talking? Like, yeah, no, we're going to go like full new stories, like little side stories, just like, flesh out the characters. Like, this one's going to focus on sort of the origin of, like, I don't know, King Shark. Cool. Sounds cool. Who's going to make that? Well, you are. Absolutely not. See you later. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a hell of a lot. Like, a big problem in the gaming industry anyway is how overworked a lot of these developers feel.
And everyone's having layoffs at the moment.
Yeah. And it won't be long before Warner Brothers, like, do it. I'm pretty sure they already have done, but I'm pretty sure they'll be on a larger scale if they do, because nothing they have done in the last sort of 5 years is sticking, really. Like, nothing. I think it is, truthfully, it is down to Gunn to fix it for the DC side of things anyway. Like, but yeah, I don't think doing live service is the way to go. That's that really.
No, I agree. I think I think it's a poor choice. I just think that you're setting yourself up to fail. And at the end of the day, like, if you want to make money, make more narrative. I'm not saying make more narrative-driven games, like we've said this before on the pod. Like, make games that throw out stuff and see what sticks at the wall, but don't bank all your money on, like, let's get a player base who's willing to spend their their cold earned cash or their hard earned cash in this instance.
Yeah.
You've spent £70 and now you've got to pay £10 to have a jacket. No.
But you get a new jacket every couple of months and a battle pass.
Yeah.
Sound. No, I'm all right. Cheers.
Great. Just give me all that.
For what? So I can not do any more of the story? Like, no.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even now, like, I'm thinking about it. I grinded out all the cosmetics on Jedi Survivor. And I
Yeah.
was happy doing that. And I found a little node thing that says, "Oh, this is where all the boxes are that you can find in the map." And I was like, "I found this. I found where this was. It tells me where all the things are. I can go find them." And I just literally bounce across all the maps, finding all the cosmetics and unlocking them myself. And I enjoyed that because it's a
Yeah.
game that's gamey, and it was great. I don't need to like have a jacket that's got flames on the shoulders, because it for me, like I've been watching videos on Suicide Squad to Kill the Justice League. And I'm not going to bag on it, but it was just like it's the most relevant sort of thing I can see. It breaks my immersion when they've got characters that are not like how they should be.
You
Like
didn't like that
in
about Spider-Man, did you?
yeah, like there's like 50 costumes each that you can pick up, and I'm like, nah, I like the original ones because that's how the game should look. Like, and that for me, like, I tried a couple, and I was just like, no, I don't like looking at him not being in the costume that he should have. And there's like the lava one that Miles has that
Yeah.
was like on the pre-order, and I was like, that's cool. I
Those
don't like
pre-order
looking at that.
skins were trash.
They were. I don't like looking at those in the cutscenes. I like to see his actual Miles Morales suit. And like for Jedi Survivor, like that was one of the games where I was like, I swapped and changed things all the time, different haircuts, because you're meant to make your own Cal Kestis. But like with Suicide Squad, some of the cosmetics they're having, like you've got,
Also
the
with
Boomerang in the Flash thing, in the Flash
yeah,
suit. Takes me out of it. I'm like, no,
it's
don't like that.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject quickly, but like I guess with Cal Kestis, there's nothing to go on, like go off of. Like he's an original character, so he could realistically wear whatever, and it doesn't feel out of place. I guess with like yes, there's a lot of different like versions of Harley Quinn, and she's got lots of outfits and stuff like that. But like, it needs to feel like it fits within the sort of universe that it takes place in. Like, at least the ones that Cal Kestis can wear, I feel like he would wear any of the outfits that are available to be worn because they're kind of just. It's very rare. It's EA, isn't it? The Jedi games. They are
Yeah.
EA. It's very rare for EA to sort of put this much time and effort into a game because it doesn't feel like they just reskin everything usually. But like you can tell that they've thought about the items that you can wear and like are they a part of the existing world? I think that's a lot of a problem with games now. Like everyone, yes, the idea of collecting costumes is cool for nostalgia. It's cool. Like I like, especially with Spider-Man. Like yes, whilst I agree, some of them look a bit ridiculous, but some of them are cool because if you get those references, you're like, damn, that's a cool suit to have. And like I don't mind wearing different suits when I'm like not doing story and I just want to piss about, like that's when I will wear a suit. But I agree, like I do like wearing just sort of the suit that the game intended for the mission, for the story, for that reason. And that's probably another element of like why live service just is irrelevant because it feels like they'll focus on that, like the cosmetic side of things, without thinking about anything else because that's the bit that sells. It's that product placement. People want it.
It's a controversial statement that because you're a big Fortnite guy.
I am a massive Fortnite guy, but there's no pressure of being like that needs to fit in with the story there because I could, do you know what I mean? I was playing last night with my friends. I've got one of them that was dressed up as, I was dressed as Lady Gaga. My other mate had Harley Quinn on, and somebody else had some random sort of like I don't know skin. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that is a random experience that doesn't make any sense. Like within the context of that game, pretty much anything goes. Like, but it's not a narrative game. It doesn't add anything by me having them. But it's just like it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. I think what should be brought back, and I don't think it's too much to ask, is just a complete game for you to just go play and unlock everything.
Be real, mate. Don't be stupid.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is it too much to ask for just those old 2010 games where it's not broken? You can unlock everything. There's so many collectibles. You can Spyro to your heart's content. Just go find all the gems and whatever it is, and just is it too much to ask?
Yeah, it is. In this day and age, you ain't getting a complete game. No. Not on your Nelly, mate. Not on your Nelly. unless you like want to go for some more niche titles that come out, like Helldivers, which I think will win Game of the Year. But yeah, you get a complete game there. Like, I know there was a lot of speculation about, it feels like there's kind of a lot of pay to win kind of elements in this game, but it isn't. It definitely isn't. but it is a complete game, and you don't actually need to spend any money to progress the game at all. So you can just play it, and like, there's a lot of stuff that yes, it is a live service game, but it's a live service game that offers cosmetic stuff and I guess some other weapons that you might miss out on and stuff. But I feel like it doesn't matter too much. Like, I don't feel like you'd miss out too much because all the guns are very similar. It's either an SMG, a shotgun, or an assault rifle, or a pistol. Like, and those guns will come back around. Like, there's different versions of all those different iterations of all those guns rather. So yeah, I think Warner Brothers could do with staying in their lane, and thinking, like, I don't know, like, they have the ability to be on top because they've got the money to fund it. They're one of the biggest studios in the world, if not, other than Universal, the biggest studio in the world. They own HBO, they own like some of the biggest franchises in the world, DC, Harry Potter, Scooby-Doo, like things like that. They own lots of these things, and they just seem to like be wasting the opportunities that they have here by just kind of half-assing it. We spoke about this last week a lot on the Avatar episode with Liam. Adaptations seem soulless because they're just kind of like, well, these characters sell, they'll sell. But and this is a similar thing that's happening. It's like, oh well, people love Harry Potter and people love Hogwarts. This will sell, but it's like, that's not the reason you should make something. Of course, the objective is to make money, but it should also be like, we're offering the fans a real good experience. Like here, do you know what I mean?
But that is going to sell on its own. Like Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to absolutely outsell everything that comes out that same year.
100%.
I can't wait for it. I'm really excited as a Potter fan. I'm so excited. If you want to make more money out of it, add some DLC. Don't make it a live service game because you're just gonna hurt. You're gonna hurt the product. You're gonna hurt the people. You're gonna hurt the fans that love this game because it's just gonna be churned out with that live service elements tacked on and being like, oh, actually, you get Voldemort's wand this week, and next week you get Dumbledore's wand, and everyone's just like, well, actually, I'd just rather go and find all these cosmetics in the world, or go
they should just be in the game anyway.
They should 100%. Like, why? Why?
Yeah, I shouldn't need to be like, subscribing to a video game that I've just already paid 60, 70 quid for. Like, no. Be like realistic. It's not I guess in the short run they see, it might be a profitable thing, but I don't see longevity in service games because I would cancel that. Like, at this point, I've finished Hogwarts, right? At this point, there's no point for me to go back and play it. Even if you were like, we're adding some extra cosmetics. Okay, so what? I'm not going to play the game again. I've done it. Like, and that's the problem with narrative games. They don't have longevity in the way that people think they do. But they just don't. Because once you finish a story, unless you are one of those completionists, you move on. Like, I am not one of those gamers that is interested in platining a game. Like, at all, really. Like, I just don't care. Once I finish the story, I'm like, cool, I'm done. Like, I'm satisfied. I'll move on. Let it move on, right? Whilst people like that game and go, God damn, I picked that up in a few years ago, when the dust has settled and I've done some other things and I've kind of like forgotten about it. Oh, we'll go back to Hogwarts. Because it always does. I've just done that with Last of Us 2 with the re-release. But don't start trying to kind of spoon feed and shoehorn in some extra content just for the sake of it, because I'm not going to be bothered, and all you're doing is ruining its reputation and losing yourself some money because people won't do it.